ሰላም ሰላም ተማሪዎች እንደምን አላችሁ? ዛሬም የማትሪክ ኤግዛሞችን ይዤላችሁ መጥቻለሁ። ማትሪክ ኤግዛም ኦን ኮምፕሌክስ ነምበር የሚለውን እናያለን ማለት ነው። Let us consider the first question. Which one of the following is the simplest form of what? Given this 4 minus 3i over 3 plus 4i plus 1 minus 2i conjugate. We know that the complex number z can be expressed as the forms what? X plus yi. The conjugate of this z means what? The conjugate of this means what? Make negative the imaginary one minus yi. That means we call x is real part, y is imaginary part. So we make the imaginary part negative. We call that is conjugate of the given complex number. If that's so, you know that complex number used to solve such problems. For instance, x squared is equal to 0. This means what? The square of x is equal to what? Negative 1. In case of real number, we don't have any real number whose square is negative. So to solve such problems, we use what? Complex number. This negative 1 is equal to what? The imaginary square of this I square. We call that is negative 1. If that's so, we can solve such problems. So to solve such problems, we use what? Complex number. Let's come to for our problem. Let's try to solve this one. 4 minus the given problem. Here we have. This is what? This is 4 minus this is 3i divided by what? This is 3 plus 4i. So in our choice there is no form of what? A over b forms. So we'll try to rationalize the denominator and express as a form of what? X plus yi forms. This is multiply both denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate of the denominator is what? 3 minus 4i divided by this 3 minus 4i. This plus what? Plus the conjugate of this one. The conjugate of this means what? Make that negative. This becomes what? 1 plus what? That is 2i. Which is equivalent to, when multiply 4 times 3, that is what? 12. This is 4 times negative 4i, that is what? Minus what? That means minus 16i. Minus 3i times 3 is what? That is minus 9i, the imaginary one. Minus 3i times minus 4i is what? Minus times minus 4, that means it becomes positive. 3 times 4, that is 12. 12 times I square in 1, that is negative 12. It becomes negative 12. Divided by, this is what? The square of this one is what? 9. 3 times 3. 3 times minus 4i, that is minus 12i. Plus 4 times 3, that means what? 4i times 3, that means 12i. This is 12i. Then 4i times minus 4i, that is what? Negative 16 negative 16 times I square means what? Negative. It becomes what? Positive 16. Here is plus 1 plus 2i. When come to here, we cancel this is 12. This one is what? Negative 12. We cancel this one. What remains? Which is equal to negative 16i minus what? This is 9 over this. We cancel this minus 12i by positive plus 12i. What remains? 9 plus 16. That is 25. This is 25. Plus, here is 1 minus, sorry, that is plus 2i, the imaginary one. Negative 16 minus 9i is what? That is minus 25i. Here is divided by, this is 25 plus what? Plus 1 plus, there is 2i. What one? We cancel this negative 25 by 25. What remains? Which is equal to negative I plus what? Here is 1 plus here is what? 2i. So we can collect imaginary with imaginary, real with real. Negative I plus 2i is what? That is 1i. So this is plus 1. So this is equivalent to 1 plus I. The simplest form of our problem is what? This is 1 plus I. 1 plus I. From the given choice, the choice is what? That is A. Similarly, if z is equal to 3 plus I over I minus 2 is a given complex number, then what is the conjugate of this? Conjugate of this. The conjugate of this means what? Z is equal to Z1 over what? Z2, for instance. We can take this. The conjugate of this means what? The conjugate of what? The quotient here, which is equal to, we know that this is equals conjugate of Z1 over what? Conjugate of Z2. What the conjugate of Z1 is what? 3 plus I conjugate divided by what? Divided by minus 2 plus I conjugate of this. The conjugate of the denominator is what? That is 3 minus I divided by what? This is negative 2 minus I. Here we are. When you come to here is what? Negative 2 minus I. So we can take negative 1 common for the denominator. This becomes what? 3 minus I divided by what? Negative 1 into what? Into 2 plus I. Here we are. So when you take this negative to the denominator, it becomes what? This becomes what? This is negative 3. Yes, plus I divided by what? Divided by 2 plus I. 2 plus I. Here we are. So we'll try to see this choice if you have in our alternative negative 3 plus I over 2 plus I. The choice is what? That is A. A is the correct answer for this one. We may express this one by rationalizing the denominator, or it may be expressed as follows, or this is minus 3 plus I times what? Multiplied by the conjugate of this one. This is 2 minus I divided by what? 2 minus I times this is equal to 2 plus I. As we did before, which is equal to what? Negative 3 times 2. That means negative 6. Minus 3I times minus I. This becomes what? This is minus plus becomes this is 3I. I times 2 is what? That is plus 2I. I times negative I square is what? I square is negative. So negative times negative, it becomes what? Positive plus 1. Over what? Over this becomes what? 2 square is 4. I times negative I square, that is negative plus. So this becomes 5, which is equal to minus 6 plus 1 is what? Collect real with real, imaginary with imaginary. Negative 6 plus 1 is what? That is negative 5. Plus this is 3I plus 2I is what? That is 5I. This divided by what? Divided by 5. So 5 is, this becomes what? Negative 1 plus what? This is I. So this can be also expressed as such forms. Which one of the following is the simplest form of this one? We know that this is modulus of what? 3 plus 4I minus what? This is 25I over what? Over this is 3 plus 4I. We know that modulus means what? Modulus of this Z is equal to what? If you have x plus yi, the modulus of this means what? The magnitude of this one. That means x squared plus what? This is y squared. So the modulus of 3 plus 4i means what? This is the square root of 3 squared plus what? That is 4 squared. Minus, since here we have what? A form of what? X plus yi forms. So we will try to rationalize the denominator, this one. That means we change it to real number or rational number, this one. This is minus 25i times what? The conjugate of the denominator, minus 3 minus 4i, divided by this also by 3 minus 4i, the same number, times here is what? 3 plus this is 4i. So 3 squared plus 4 squared is what? That is 16 plus 9. That means the square root of what? That is 25. Minus this is 25i divided by what? Divided by this is 3 times 3 is what? That is 9. We did this before. 3 times minus 4i is what? That is 12i. Plus 4i times 3 is what? That is 12i. 4i times 4i is what? Minus 4i is what? That is 4 times negative 4. Negative 16. I square is what? That is negative. It becomes what? 16 times here is 3 minus 4i. Here. What? The square root of 25 is that? That is 5. Minus this is 25 I divided by what? 9 plus 16 is what? That is 25. This cancelled by this one. Here we have remaining 25 times what? This is 3 minus 4i. So what for? Which is equal to 5 minus, we cancel 25 by 25, what for? I times what? This is 3 minus 4i. Here we have. This is equal to what? We distribute this I for the bracket for this one. 3 times I is what? That is minus 3i. Here we have. Minus I times minus 4i is what? This is 4 plus what? That is I squared. Here we have. Now this is equal to what? 5 minus 4i squared is what? That is I squared means what? That is negative. So it becomes what? Negative 4 minus this is 3i. 5 minus 4 is what? This is equal to 1 minus this is 3i. So the solution becomes 1 minus 3i. The alternative that we have is that is the D. The answer for this one is D. Similarly, if z is equal to a given as a form is what? X plus yi. Then calculate this is the norm of z square plus 1 over 2 z minus conjugate of z square is equal to 1. Let's try to show this one. How can we solve this? You know that we are familiar that we say that z is equal to what? This is norm of z is equal to this is x plus what? yi. This is equal to the square root of what? This is the square root of x squared plus what? Y squared. This one. Squaring this means what? Squaring this as well as the square of what? This one. Here one. So this becomes what? This is equal to x squared plus what? This is y squared. Norm of z square means what? X squared plus y squared. Similarly, what about this one? What about z minus z conjugate? This is what is given? Z is given, that is x plus yi. Minus what? Minus this is x plus what? Y. Minus of what? The conjugate of this is what? yi. Here we are. So this is equal to what? This is equal to x minus x plus yi. Yes. Minus minus becomes what? Plus yi. Which is equal to x cancelled by x, that is 0, which is equal to what? Twice I of what? That is y. Here we have. Here we have. So let's square this one. This implies what you want to show that this implies what? The norm of this is norm of z squared plus 1 over 2 into z minus norm of z. That means the conjugate of z minus the conjugate of z squared is equal to 1, which implies z squared means what? Norm of z squared is that we did it this one here, which is equal to what? Which is equal to x squared plus what? That is y squared plus 1 over 2 into what? The square of this one. Here we have z minus z conjugate is what? This one. Square it. This is equal to 2i what? Y the whole square. Here we have. What does imply? Is equal to what? This is equal to 1. This implies that here is x squared plus y squared. 2i y squared means what? 2i means what? Negative 4y squared. Negative 4y squared divided by 2 is what? That is negative 2y squared is equal to what? This is equal to 1. Now we can add or subtract y squares, since here we have y squared here as well as here we have. So we subtract 1 minus 2 is what? That means minus y squared. This implies that x. So this becomes what? Y squared minus 2y squared is what? That is negative y squared is equal to what? 1. This is the solution. Choice is A. First, you will try to find what? As we did here, norm of z squared, which is equal to x squared plus y squared. Z minus the conjugate of z is equal to what? 2iy. So square this one, it becomes what? Negative 4y squared. Negative 4 squared divided by 2, here we have 2. That becomes what? Negative 2y squared. So we can subtract y squared minus 2y squared. Since they have what? The same variable y squared, this becomes what? X squared minus y squared. Let us see the next one. if z is equal to 1 plus I, the power of 10, then what is the value of z? We asked this one. We are familiar for this one is that, let's try to find tan of this theta. Tan theta means what? That means we say that opposite over what? Over adjacent. The opposite, that is y value, is that 1. The adjacent is the x value, that is what? 1. Which implies that theta is equal to what? Tan inverse of what? Tan inverse of 1. Since both x and y lies at the first quadrant, tan inverse of 1 means what? That is 45 degree. Or this is equal to what? Pi over what? Pi over 4 rad, we can say. What's the norm of this? The norm of this is what? Norm of 1 plus I is equal to the square root of what? That is 2. 1 square plus 1 square, that is square root of 2. This becomes what? The square root of what? 2, the whole what? The power of 10. Power of 10 into, this is cos of 10 times pi over 4 is what? That is 5 pi over what? That is 2. Plus, this is what? I sine of what? Sine of 5 pi over what? That is 2. Here we are. This means the square root of 2 means what? 2. This is equal to what? 2 the power of what? 1 over 2. The whole what? That is 10. Which is equal to cos pi. 5 pi over 2 means what? This is cos of what? This is 2 pi plus what? That is pi over 2. Plus this is I sine of what? Sine of 2 pi plus what? This is pi over 2. Here we are. You know that we are familiar about this. Cos of what? This is 2 pi plus theta is equal to what? This is cos theta. This is cos 2 pi is what? That is 1. Cos theta is what? That is cos theta. In case of sine, it becomes 0. Because of that, this becomes what? Equal to cos theta. This is equal to with that. So cos 2 pi times this cos into 2 pi plus pi over 2 means what? That is cos of what? 90 equivalent to, this is equal to 2 the power of 1 over 2 the power of 10 means what? This is 2 the power of 5 into cos of 2 pi plus pi over 2 means what? That is cos of pi over 2. It is equivalent. The same for the case of sine theta. I sine what? Pi over 2. Here one. When you come to here, cos pi over 2 means what? That is 0. Sine pi over 2 is that? That is 1. So, which is equal to 2 the power of y what? This is times I. Which is equal to 32i. Here one. The solution for this one is what? 32i. The imaginary one. The real one is what? It becomes 0. So the solution for this is what? Choice B. Let us consider the next one. If W is equal to 16 over 1 plus I plus 1 minus 3I square, then what is the value of this one? We asked this. To solve such problem, we try to see what? That is, let's try to simplify what? W. What is W? This is W is equal to what? This is 16I. Let's rationalize it. This is 1 minus I divided by what? Divided by 1 plus I times what? This is 1 minus I. This is equal to plus square it. The square of this is what? 1 minus 3I times what? This is 1 plus 1 minus 3I, sorry. Here. Which is equal to what? Which is equal to, when you rationalize this one, 16I times 1 is what? That is 16I. Minus 16I times minus I is what? That means I square. Then you have minus times I square. That is, it becomes what? Plus. That is plus 16. This is plus 16. Divided by 1 plus I times 1 minus I means what? That is 1 plus 1. That is 2. This is equal to plus 1 times 1 is what? That is 1. 1 times minus 3I, that is minus 3I. Minus 3I times 1 is what? That is minus 3I. You see? Minus 3I times minus 3I is what? Minus 3 times minus 3 is what? That is 9. I times I is what? I square. So plus 9 minus, this becomes, this is minus 9, which is equivalent to, we divide both by 2, this means what? 8i plus what? This is 8. Plus, here is 1 minus 8 is what? That is minus 8 is, there is minus 8 minus 3i, minus 3i is what? That is minus 6i. So this becomes what? Minus 8 minus 6i. Here we have. We cancel this is 8 minus 8 is what? That is 0. What remains? 8i minus 6i is what? That is twice i. Well, this one is what? Minus 2i. That means positive 2i. Here we have. That is w. If w is this one, what the value of this? That means z is equal to norm of this w plus what? The conjugate of what? W. We asked this one. Since here is 2i, that means norm of what? 2i plus what? Conjugate of this. What's the conjugate of this w? That means negative 2i. Negative 2i. This is equal to norm of 2i, that is what? 2. 2 minus what? This is 2i. Here we have. The value for this one is what? 2 minus 2i. So the choice is what? Our choice is D. Let us consider the next one. In the set of complex numbers, what is the solution of this one? We ask this. We apply what? Negative b plus or minus the square root of what? B square minus 4ac. Divided by what? That is 2. We apply this formula. In our case, what is a? Our a is 1. Our b is what? That is 4. And our c is what? That is 5. We have to substitute these values, which is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of what? The square root of b square means what? That is 16. Minus 4ac means what? 4 times 5, that is 20. Divide by that is 2. What the value? This is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of what? 16 minus 20 is what? That is negative 4. Divide by, here is 2. Negative 4 is what? That means 2i. This is equal to negative 4 plus or minus 2i divided by what? That is 2. Divide this one. Since 2 is common factor for negative 4 and 2, we cancel by 2 by 2. What remains? Here is equal to negative 2 plus or minus what? This is I. The solution for this is what? Negative 2 plus or minus I, which is equal to what? D. Our choice is D. So nothing is done, but we apply what? General quadratic formula to solve such problems, since it is quadratic function. Modulus of this is what? This is what? Cos of what? Pi over 10 square plus what? This is plus sine square what? Pi over what? That is 10. This is equal to what? That is 1. If that's so, power of 5. This the power of 5 means what? Which is equal to r the power of 5 times what? This is cos of s5 theta. That means 5 times pi over 10. Our theta is this one. Plus I sine of what? I sine of pi over 10 here times 5 here. So r the power that is 1, the power of 5 that is 1 the same. So it becomes what? This is cos of what? 5 pi over 10 means what? That is pi over 2. Plus this one is what? I sine of what? This is I sine of pi over 2. Cos of pi over 2 is that is 0. Sine pi over 2 that is 1. So it becomes what? The value is I. The solution for our choice is that is C.
And please subscribe, share and like our channel.